Hello everyone. So today we are going to do a very interesting and an important concept of mathematics that we call as geometry. So basically to understand geometry, we have to get the meaning of the word geometry. The word geometry comes from a Greek word that means basically Earth's measurement. The word geo means earth and metry means measurement. So geometry means measurement of earth, or you can say measurement, something which requires measurement. That's geometry. So let's start from the basic point of a geometry, and that is a point. Exactly. A point is the first thing that we are going to learn in a geometry. Now, what is a point? It's just a area in a space. It's just a location in a space. For example, we draw or we denote point with this symbol, right? Anywhere you can draw it, and that will show you the point, right? Now, you can name anything. You can name this point whatever you like, point O, point A, point B, whatever you like. You can just name them. Now, the next important thing after this is a line. What is a line, right? Many of us, just know that this is a line, right? But this, a line, it can go it can be extended infinitely in both the directions. You can see these are the directions in which it can be extended. Also, is made with the help of a point. Now, it can be, as I said, it can be extended into many directions. It can be extended infinitely in any direction. So if you want to extend this line, you can just extend it from this way or this way. It's totally correct. Now, you can name this line whatever you like. Let's name this line as ABC. You can call it line AB, or you can also call it line BC, or you can also call it line AC. These are the lines. Now, this is how we show in geometry, in mathematical representation of a line. You just draw a line on the top of the name, on the top of its name. That's how you show a line. Now, let's move on to the third thing. That is a ray. Now, what is a ray? It's type of line only, but with a special thing. And that is a ray has a starting point. A ray has a starting point. For example, this is the point from which a line started. So that is a ray. Now, it does not have an ending point. Remember that it can be extended from one end only. This is the starting point. Now, it can't be extended from this side because it's just the point. Now, you can just move forward, right? You can extend this ray from this direction, but not this one. Now, the ray, as I said, it's a special type of line. So the representation of a ray is also special. Let's just name this first. So let's say this is a ray AB. Now, how do you denote it? In mathematical way, we just write it like this. Write the name AB and just draw a ray, a starting point and an arrow. The arrow indicates that it can be moved forward. It goes on, right? The next type of line that we are going to do is a segment. Now, a segment is also special type of line. Let's just see how. So as we saw that a ray has one starting point and it can be extended from one end, but a segment have 2 points and it can not be extended from any point. So it has 2 points. You can consider it as a starting point or an ending point, whatever you like. You can consider it, but you can not extend a line segment. Now, let's just name this as, let's say, A, C. Now, to show line segment, you can just write A and C, and on the top of it, just draw a segment. That's it. That's how you show a line segment. Now, for every point, line, ray, and segment that we did, I told you how to write the mathematical representation. Now, if you write AB to BA in the line, that's also the same thing. BC to CB, that's also the same thing. And if you write AC as CA, that's also correct. Now, for ray AB, you can just write BA as well, because it doesn't matter from where you are starting. It's just it's showing that it's a ray. Now, if you just reverse this, if you reverse AB, it will become BA. So that's also true. So segment AC can also be written as CA. So this is the segment. Now let's move forward to the next thing in this geometry, and that is a parallel line. That is a parallel line. It might sound a bit hard because of the name, but believe me, it's really, really easy and easier than the things that we learned right now. So parallel lines. Now what they means. So let's say we have two lines like this and this. Okay. We have two lines, this and this. Now let's name this line as A and B. Now, if we will look closer to these lines, they are not meeting, right? And if you will extend this to infinity, to eternity, this will not meet. Okay, let's try extending this. So I'm using this to extend a line. Let's say I'm extending this from this point, but still it's going on the same way, right? Okay, let's try to extend these lines from this side. Still, it's going on, right? There is no point at which you can see that they are meeting each other. So parallel lines, you say, they do not meet. They never meet each other. So that's a parallel line. Now to represent a parallel line, we write A parallel to B. Now the parallel will be shown with the help of these two lines in the center. A is parallel to B. They never ever meet each other. That's the parallel line. Or you can also write B is parallel to A. B is parallel to A. Now the next thing that we are going to do is an intersecting line. What is an intersecting line? Well, it's just the opposite of a parallel line. Intersecting line. So as the name suggests, it is intersecting. So two lines, when they are intersecting, they are called as intersecting lines. For example, let's take these two lines. I have this line. Okay, sorry. I have this line, and let's just draw one more line over here. So if you notice, these are two different lines. Let's say this as A. Let's call this A, and let's call this B. Now you see that over here, they are meeting at a point. You see, this is the point where they are meeting, right? So you can call this as an intersecting line. When two lines meet each other, you can call them as intersecting lines. It can be like this, or it can be like this. They are still meeting at a point. Let's say this as line A, and let's call this line B. They are meeting at a point, right? And whenever two lines meet, we can call them as an intersecting lines. Now, we'll be moving forward and extending this concept of lines into something really, really interesting. And that is going to be angles. That's going to be angles. It's just so amazing concept. They are, formed with the lines that we have seen, right? They are just the extended version of the lines basic geometry that we did. The ray, the line segment, the perpendicular, the parallel line, the intersecting lines. That's it. They're so, so easy. Now, what are actually angles? Let's just try to understand. So, you know about two lines. You know about lines. What are they? So when two lines meet each other, when two lines meet each other, they form an angle. For example, let's say I have this line and one more line, which is this. Let's just name them. Let's just name both the lines. Let's say this is A and this as B. They are making an angle. They are making an angle. Now, the point where the two lines will meet, this point, we will call it as the vertex. This is the vertex of an angle where two lines meet. That's called a vertex. Now, these angles are nothing but just special lines. When they will meet, they will form an angle. They will form an angle. Now, the point where they meet is called the vertex of it. Now, there are types in angles as well that we are going to do. The first type of angle is an acute angle. As the name suggests, they are cute, right? Cute, generally we see things that are cute or small, tiny, right? So we can just, remember this from the angle which forms less than 90, which is basically less than 90 degrees. So that's an acute angle. The angle measurement, for example, let's name them first A, B, C. Now, the angle measurement of ABC should be the angle measurement of ABC should be less than 90, less than 90 degrees. That's where an acute angle is formed. Now, it can be till 89, right? Because it's just less than 90, not equals to 90. So we have to say they are not equal to 90, they are less than 90. So acute angles, which forms the angle measurement of less than 90, they are called as acute angles. Now, it can be whatever measurement you want to say, you can say that. For example, it can be 45 degrees, it can be 60 degrees. They all are acute angle. On the basis of angle measurement, we are going to learn what are the types of angles. So the first is acute angle, which measures less than 90 degree. Also, how do we name this angle? We can call it angle A, B, C. Or we can call it angle C, B, A. That's the same thing. Now, in both the names, you have noticed that the B is in the center. B, vertex, in this case, the vertex is B. So vertex should always be in the center, showing that these two lines are equal and these two lines are meeting at this point B. So a vertex should always be in the center while you are writing the name of an angle. Now, let's move on to the next type of angle. That is a right angle. That is a right angle. Now, right angle are special type of angles. Very, very special type of angles. They have a fixed measurement. As we learned in acute angle, it can be anything, it can measure anything under 90. So that's an acute angle. But for a right angle, it's just 90 degrees. Not less, not more, just 90 degrees. A 90-degree angles generally looks like this. A 90-degree angles generally looks like this. It forms a 90 degree, and that is why they are called a right angle. Now, a right angle, as I said, they are special, so they have fixed value. It is equals to 90 degree. Let's just name this as P, Q, R. So the vertex over here is angle Q, is point Q. So you can just write it as right angle P, Q, R, or you can also write it as right angle R, P, R, Q, P. RQP. As I said, that the vertex should be in the center. So we write it, or we write always this in the center. Now, the next thing is that, as I said, the right angle has a fixed value. So you can't, right angle as 46 degrees, for example, or 89 degrees. We can't call it a right angle. It would be an acute angle, exactly, because those are less than 90. Also, a right angle also a right angle is always looks like this. If you just reverse this, it will be like this, will be like this, forming two straight lines. When they join, they will form a right angle. Let's move on to the next concept. That is the next type of angle, that is an obtuse angle. That's an obtuse angle. One more thing, when we are writing angles, so we generally use this symbol. But for right angle, we specially use this symbol that is making a right angle. That shows that it is making a right angle. Now, let's move on to the next type of angle, that is an obtuse angle. It's again, we have learned till 90 that the 90-degree angle is called a right angle. So angle measuring more than 90 degree, and less than 180 degree. More than 90 degrees, but less than 180 degrees. We call those angles as an obtuse angle. Let's just try to make an obtuse angle. So let's say this as an obtuse angle. Now, if you will notice, a right angle generally, which is of 90 degrees, goes from this point. Let me draw it properly. Yeah. So it goes from this point, right? But it's more than that. That's why it's leading towards the other side, right? So it's an obtuse angle, which measures more than 90 degrees. It measures more than 90 degrees. Now, there is no fixed value of it, like the right angle. It's more likely towards the acute angle, that it does not have a fixed value. It's just more than 90 and less than 180. So it could be 91 as well, and it could be 179 as well. So there is no fixed value in obtuse angle. The last type of angle that we are going to learn in this introduction video is a straight line angle. What is a straight line angle? A straight line angle generally looks like a straight line, as the name suggests, straight line. It measures, again, it is special like the right angle. It has a fixed value. It generally looks like a line only. It has a fixed value that we call, that is 180 degrees. Not more than that, not less than that. It's just fixed 180 degrees, right? So let's just name this as A and B. So A and B is a straight line angle. Angle A and B, which is equals to 180 degrees. Now, as I said, that you can write it as AB or BA, that's the same thing. Now, there is one thing. If you will notice this properly, you will not be able to find two lines where we said that an angle is formed by the measurement of two lines. So generally in the straight line, in a straight line angle, there are two lines like this. There are two lines like this, which meet each other at this point, which is, since they are forming line, they are joining very quickly, like they are not taking any space to join. So this point in the center, it will be their vertex. So you can say it as B. So A, let's name it C or B, whatever. This point as A and this point as C. So you can call this as angle A, B, C, or you can also call it as angle CBA. That's the same thing. And voila, we are done with the basic concepts of mathematics. We are done with the basic concepts of geometry in mathematics. So now we know what's a point, what's a line, ray, segment, parallel line, intersecting lines. More interestingly, we did some really, really good concepts on angles and identifying what types of angles are there on the basis of their angle measurement. Now we'll be meeting later. That is it for today. Bye-bye.